It's Thursday, the 3rd of February. Thanks for watching Good Morning Europe here on Euronews. Our top stories this hour.
The US announces plans to deploy 3,000 troops to Eastern Europe. Russia warns the move will fuel military tensions. The UK heads for another clash with Brussels after Northern Ireland orders an end to post-Brexit customs checks on goods crossing the Irish Sea. And we meet the artist challenging the status quo in Syria's Idlib province.
The announcement that the US is to deploy more than 3,000 of its troops in Germany, Poland and Romania has raised the stakes in the standoff over Ukraine. To be precise, President Joe Biden is ordering 2,000 US-based troops to NATO allies Poland and Germany and shifting 1,000 more from Germany to Romania. But they are not being sent to non-NATO member Ukraine.
This is not troops that will go into Ukraine. They're not fighting in Ukraine. This is us, this is the United States, abiding by our commitments under Article 5 to support, reassure our partners in the region.
Russia's Foreign Office in Moscow promptly fired back with a sharply worded objection. Deputy Foreign Minister Alexander Krushenko said in remarks carried by the Interfax news agency, the unfounded destructive steps will only fuel military tensions and narrow the field for political decisions. Not sending the troops to Ukraine is a move designed to avoid provoking Moscow, who, for its own security, wants guarantees that Ukraine never joins NATO. Meanwhile, the diplomatic efforts continue, with President Vladimir Putin telling UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson in a phone call that NATO and its allies are ignoring Russia's security concerns. French President Emmanuel Macron is also emphasising the dialogue route to solve the crisis.
I'm obviously very concerned about the situation on the ground. I've had many exchanges in recent days with my European counterparts, with President Putin on several occasions, and I'll be speaking with President Biden in the next few hours. In any case, we're in the process of trying to find common ground.
The rush to find that common ground is taking place against growing fears that Russia will invade Ukraine, something President Putin denies.
This could be actually one more reason for Russia to say that its security concerns are true, to say that the US is asking for de-escalation and sending its troops to Europe. This move is absolutely seen as a negative one. That's what I've been told by the Deputy Speaker of the Russian Upper House of Parliament, Konstantin Kosachev. He said that this move will not destroy the whole process, but surely will not help this process to move forward. We have heard from Vladimir Putin yesterday that Russia actually did not give the answers to its main security concerns, that those concerns were ignored, but he spoke about also some positive suggestions, and we understood that there was a space for the dialogue. Right now, Russia is taking time to decide what's next, what answer to give, and this is, I would say, a very meaningful pause, because Vladimir Putin is going to China to assist the Olympic ceremony, opening ceremony, but first of all to hold talks with his counterpart. And ahead of those talks, the Kremlin said that Mr. Xi Jinping and Vladimir Putin were on the same page concerning the global security, and this is absolutely a message to the United States. And Vladimir Putin's spokesperson Dmitry Peskov today answered his counterpart, the White House press secretary, who said that Russia was like a fox sitting at the top of the hen house and saying that it was scared. Well, he said that Russia is used to being compared with a bear who would not climb this hen house because it is too heavy.
As negotiations with Russia continue, UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson is facing another crisis at home, as the so-called Partygate scandal shows no sign of letting up. Our reporter Victoria Smith has the latest from London.
Boris Johnson coming under more pressure from his own party, with 3 more MPs now asking for him to leave. The senior Tory MP Tobias Ellwood, a former defence minister, and the backbenchers Sir Gary Streeter and Anthony Mangnall, MP for Devon. It needs to be 54 MPs that write to the 1922 committee before a vote of no confidence can take place, but the pressure is mounting on Boris now as these names continue to be added to the list. And of course what he's doing is trying to hide behind other areas, international areas, trying to be an international statesman. We've seen that with his visit to Ukraine, looking at the national agenda, the cost of living, for example, and rolling out this levelling up agenda that he promised to voters in the north of the country back in 2019. He's now announced how a €5 billion fund will be spent on areas such as broadband and education and public transport. But will these big diversionary tactics be enough to save him? We don't know yet. We wait for the police inquiry to come out, but certainly pressure is continuing to mount from within his own party.
The Northern Ireland Protocol, a linchpin in the Brexit agreement, is on the verge of unravelling. The region's Agriculture Minister, Edwin Poots, has taken the unilateral decision to halt Irish sea border customs checks as of midnight. The move sets him on a collision course with Brussels. The protocol demands that checks on goods from Great Britain must take place at Northern Ireland's ports to make sure they comply with EU laws. It effectively creates a customs border in the Irish Sea, the idea being to avoid a hard border between Northern Ireland and its neighbour to the south, the Republic of Ireland. Poots is a member of the pro-UK Unionist Party, the DUP, which rejects the Northern Ireland Protocol as it stands, since it puts a virtual barrier between Belfast and London. He believes the checks are unlawful, but last week his bid to force the Stormont executive to rethink on the issue was blocked by Sinn Féin. Since then, he claims a legal loophole allows him to act independently, causing uproar in Dublin, London and Brussels.
Despite a still high number of COVID infections, France has partly lifted its restrictions. People no longer have to wear masks outdoors, something citizens of the southern city of Toulouse are happy about, although remaining cautious when it gets busy. I just got off the bus and I didn't pay attention, but when there are a lot of people, I keep it to protect myself and others. I think it's good news because I don't think masks are very effective outdoors, except at the market when there are a lot of us. But for example, now there's no one around me, so I don't know why I would need to wear a mask. Among the changes, the capacity limit at sports and cultural events is no longer in place when the audience is seated. And working from home is not compulsory anymore, but remains recommended.
Our determination to keep the country open has therefore paid off, and the lifting of restrictions is proceeding as planned. We are maintaining the path we have followed, a path that will lead us, everyone hopes, to a lasting exit from the health crisis.
Closed since the 10th of December, nightclubs should reopen in 2 weeks' time. On the same day, eating and drinking will be permitted in stadiums, cinemas and public transport. France is following Ireland, the UK, the Netherlands and several northern countries who have all taken steps to end or loosen their restrictions. And this despite the World Health Organization's emergency chief warning leaders from opening back too soon under political pressure without taking into account the health of their population or immunization coverage situation.
Proclamo eletto Presidente della Repubblica Sergio Mattarella.
La lotta alla mafia e quella alla corruzione sono priorità assolute.